Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Bitcoin pumping, making another major move, looking to retest 100 G's, up 2,800 on the day. Today, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin traders see a massive 130,000 Bitcoin price action next. And Rich Dad says my prediction for Bitcoin 2025 is 175,000 to 350,000 per coin. Happy New Year. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin ETFs approach 110 billion as analysts calls for 200,000 Bitcoin price action in 2025. We'll also be discussing members of U.S. Congress backed by the crypto pox to take office on January 3rd, as well as a new proposal to mandate the Swiss National Bank to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet, already set in motion. Also, not unreasonable to see Bitcoin hit 250,000 according to CoinShares head of research. I'll be sharing why. We'll also be discussing Mark Moss on his Bitcoin adoption freedom and $1 million Bitcoin price trajectory, with Bitcoin eclipsing a market cap of 21 trillion. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the podcast, important to smash the likes, then go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto newsletters every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode number 1866. I'm your host, JV. It's January 2nd, 2025. Yes, it is the second day of the year. Bitcoin's the highest it's been thus far in 2025. We're currently up over 3,000 on the day, flirting above 97.5. We need to retest that coveted 100K milestone. 220 in play, 1.1 million in play, 420 in play for the broskies, and Max Kaiser, 10x. Bring it. 220, now 2.2 milli. Let's go. But anyways, fam, let's kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day. As you can see on Coin360, Bitcoin up 3% on the day, Ether up 3%, XRP up 3%, Solana up 7%, most of the market pumping and in the green. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap is sitting at 3.4 trillion, finally back on the rise. Bitcoin market cap looking to re-break 2 trillion, currently at 1.93 trillion. We have 131 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance 56.5%, Ether dominance 12.2%. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. Fartcoin leading the pack, up 45%, followed by Dexy, up 31%, followed by Core, up just shy of 12%. Which alts, if any, are you bullish on for the bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the day. It's good to see virtually everything in the green, minus scam token FTT, hype, never heard of, and then the classic OGs Litecoin and Monero. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, today we're 70 greed, yesterday 66, last week at 79, and last month at 76 in extreme greed. And checking out the time chain calendar, we're currently on block number 877,524. We have 172,476 blocks until the halving of 2028, and you can currently exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 1,036 sats. So stack them sats and let's get it. Astrology for the broskies. Headline here reads, Bitcoin traders see massive 130,000 plus Bitcoin price next as TradFi returns. That's right. You're looking at a 1 hour chart. Bitcoin not only recaptured 95, we're about to break 98 at the time of the live stream, and Bitcoin's continue to pump, the highest we have seen it yet thus far this entire year of 2025, day 2. But yeah, TradingView tracked the Bitcoin price gains on the day, currently above 97.5, and after revisiting the monthly lows to start the week, Bitcoin showed strength as a long expected deeper support retest failed to materialize. Quoting Dan Crypto Trades, Christmas range has swept both sides for the liquidity now. Mid-range at 95.8 has been acting as resistance on the most recent tests. And the chart on your screen showed the increased volume at the range lows, something that came as various market metrics began to turn in the bulls' favor. Quoting Dan Crypto Trades again, I'd recommend keeping track of when this range breaks out to the either side. Should give a good idea of where this moves over for the next 1 to 2 weeks. And continuing, fellow trader Jelly reiterated the similarity between the Bitcoin price action this year and last, or the new year and last year, so 2025, 2024, drawing comparisons to the chart fractal that ultimately resolved to the upside. Quoting them here, the similarities are there, with or without another sweep of the lows. Comfy in the spot. The next leg higher is right around the corner. He also subsequently predicted a trip between 130 and 150 G's, baby, would result from the breakout. Jason Williams wrote here, in my view, a few weeks of consolidation could set the stage for a massive breakout, 131.5 plus by quarter 1, 2025. Feels inevitable. See you there. Let me know if you think that will be the next leg up, approximately 131, 132 G's, baby. And so, yeah, could be big the next 2 days, another analyst wrote. But let's check out some of the live charts here. I'm going to pull up on the screen for you via TradingView, and we'll see how we're looking right now, considering we're pumping very good and we're pumping fast. We're about to retake 98, now up over 3,100 on the day. You should be able to see on your screen live chart action. We're going to zoom into the 1 hour, and then we'll work our way back, and I'll read you all the targets that we see obviously on the screen. We do have a bull target on the 1 hour sitting at 110,000. And we also have a secondary bull target sitting at 108 in play on the 1 hour chart. Zooming out from the 1 hour, and this is via Coinbase right now, family. We'll check out the 4 hour. We also have similar targets here. We have a bull at 110, and we have another bull at 108, again on the 4 hour chart. Zooming out from the 4 hour, take a quick look at the 1 day. You can see a massive green candle forming, which we love to see, and lots of targets. We also have a rising wedge, and we have a bull target sitting at 110. So on the daily, the 4 hour, and the 1 hour chart. And zooming out from the daily, we take a look at the weekly, and the weekly shows us our momentum we have had since the Trump election of November. We have had several back-to-back green consecutive weekly candle closes. Up until the most previous 2 weeks have been corrective, but we're already forming a nice green candle here thus far to kick off the new year. And we also have a $124,000 cup and handle target in play here for Q1. Will it happen January, February? Let me know your thoughts when you feel we'll likely hit that target. And zooming out from the weekly, take a quick look at the monthly. And as you can see, the Moonvember candle, the largest one we have ever had in the history of Bitcoin since the inception of the Genesis block. Unfortunately, last month, corrective candle to end the year, but we're starting off on the right track here, January 2025 Q1. So you already know, but there you have it, family. And I wanted to also show you Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki's tweet really quick before we go any further. Just give me a second. You should be able to see here, Rich Dad wrote, my price prediction for Bitcoin 2025 is 175,000 to 350,000. Happy New Year. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki. And there you go, crypto bros. But next story, family, let's discuss these Bitcoin ETFs. We got a lot to share with you as we continue to pump it up. Bitcoin ETFs approach 110 billion as analyst calls 200,000 Bitcoin price here in 2025. That's right. The US-based ETFs are nearing a significant milestone following the record-breaking growth during 2024 as Bitcoin crossed the 100,000 price level. The U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs are just 2.2% or 2.2 billion away from crossing 110 billion in cumulative holdings, which makes up about 6% of the entire Bitcoin supply. As you can see here right now, 513 billion into the Bitcoin ETFs, according to the data here from source Dune. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, dominates the U.S. Bitcoin market. The firm's IBIT has more than 542,000 Bitcoin, valued at $51.5 billion, accounting for almost 48% of the market share among all the U.S. Bitcoin ETFs, as you can see here, clearly leading the pack. Then you have Grayscale at 206,000, Fidelity has 205,000, and 21 shares, 59,000. This makes BlackRock's fund the 34th largest ETF globally, including both crypto and traditional finance products, according to the ETF database. The Bitcoin ETFs have been a significant part of the Bitcoin rally towards 100,000. The U.S. spot ETFs accounted for about 75% of new investment into Bitcoin, pushing its price past the 50,000 mark by February 15th of 2024. Now, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is poised to bring in more institutional adoption in 2025, thanks to simplifying access access for the larger investors. According to Ryan Lee over at BitGet, the new ETF milestone and BlackRock's growing fund could propel the Bitcoin to 200,000 during 2025. As the analyst suggests here, long-term projections suggest sustained growth with some forecasts placing the Bitcoin value at 200,000 by 2025. However, the trajectory will be influenced by regulatory developments, market dynamics, and the broader economic conditions. However, Bitcoin still needs to gain another 4% to recover. Well, now probably 2.5% to gain that 100,000 psychological mark. Before you know it, we'll be right back. If not today, potentially by this weekend. And hopefully we're never back sub 100,000 ever again. But what do I know? Let me know your thoughts, family. And again, welcome everyone joining the live stream. And here's the latest news with members of U.S. Congress backed by the crypto pox to take office January 3rd, which is literally tomorrow. United States lawmakers who benefited from support from the crypto industry in their respective 2024 primaries or elections will soon be sworn to office for the 119th session of Congress. Crypto execs and political action committees, which are POCs, like Fair Shake and its affiliates, poured millions of dollars into media buys to support pro-crypto candidates in the 2024 election, which could have contributed to some politicians winning in certain tight races across the country. One of the most high-profile election saw Republican Bernie Moreno defeating incumbent Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown by roughly 200,000 votes after the Defend American Jobs POC spent more than $40 million. And according to the data, the election influence tracking website follows the crypto. 10 new members of the U.S. Senate expect to be sworn in, benefited in some way from funding from the crypto industry. And from a $6,600 individual contribution from Ripple co-founder Chris Larson to Maryland Senator Angela also Brooks to more than $10 million from the Protect Progress POC, also a Fair Shake affiliate, and to support Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin. Crypto money arguably influenced the composition of the next U.S. Senate just as much, if not more, than the other special interest groups. The makeup of the U.S. House of Representatives is a similar story. 63 new members taken office this January. Fair Shake and its affiliates poured millions of dollars into the primary races last year to support both Democratic and Republican candidates who have expressed views favoring the crypto industry. If or in one of the biggest expenditures resulting in a win for the candidate, Protect Progress spent $1.7 million in media buys to back Alabama Representative Shamari Figures over Anthony Daniels in the primary for the state's 2nd congressional district. Some House candidates, including Texas Representative Sylvester Turner, appeared to have not received any support from the crypto executives or POCs. So there's no signs of crypto money stopping in the next election cycle. According to the advocacy group Stand With Crypto, which also attempted to influence U.S. voters to choose candidates it considered favorable to the industry, roughly 270 lawmakers in the next session of Congress will be pro-crypto with a clear majority in the House. Let's go. The composition of both chambers could affect legislation in 2025 on how to regulate crypto in the U.S. through proposed bills like the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. And after their 2024 election wins, some in the industry have suggested they will continue their approach to supporting candidates in the 2026 midterms and beyond. And as of Moonvember, Fair Shake reported having roughly $103 million to be used for the 2026 election cycle, primarily funded by Coinbase and Ripple. All 435 House members serving 2-year terms will be up for election again at that time. So there you have it. Of course, crypto's a major talking point. In fact, I think that's why Trump is so bullish on it. He needed those 100 million plus Bitcoin supporters in the United States. And so he spoke at the Bitcoin Nashville conference and he promised to fire Gensler, told him to go home and get a shine box, ultimately. He said he'd make the United States of America the Bitcoin mining hub of the world. And he said they will stockpile the Bitcoin. Senator Cynthia Lummis spoke right after Trump and proposed a bill to accumulate over 1 million Bitcoin, purchasing 250,000 Bitcoin per year every year Trump is in office. They made some very bullish predictions. And the biggest is establishing the strategic Bitcoin reserve. If that's to happen, then you get these targets coming into play. My 1.1 million target for 2025, Max Kaiser's 2.2 million target for this cycle. And if we don't get that, and if Trump doesn't follow through with all those promises, we're still very bullish. Nothing can stop the Bitcoin train, but a modest 420 base case for the broskies. Let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, let's continue with the news. Our next story, here's the latest from Switzerland, adopting thy Bitcoin. This is a big one. Headline reads, new proposal to mandate the Swiss National Bank to hold the Bitcoin on the balance sheet set in motion. The new proposal that would mandate the Swiss National Bank to hold Bitcoin is now gathering signatures. According to Geu Zanga, VP of the energy and mining at the stablecoin issuer giant Tether, who helped create the initiative, the proposal needs 100,000 signatures from the Swiss citizens to be sent to a public referendum. And I believe that's approximately 1% of the population there. This is what it says. Today, we officially launched the popular initiative to add the Bitcoin to the Swiss National Bank's balance sheet. We will need the full support of our community to gather 100,000 signatures and make this a national referendum. Details will follow. Their X account said the initiative announced that the signature collection phase had begun. It needs to break the 100,000 mark by June 30th. Switzerland had already pioneered the Bitcoin adoption, especially in the city of Lugano, where Tether's Plan B initiative has erected a statue of Bitcoin's anonymous creator, Satoshi, and talks of a potential Bitcoin reserve in Switzerland mirror the developments of the U.S., where President Trump has reportedly been discussing the concept with those in the industry, and Senator Cynthia Lummis has repeatedly called for the Bitcoin reserve to pay down the country's debt. This is what Lummis said in December. To be clear, the strategic purpose of the strategic Bitcoin reserve is to explicitly, strategically pay down government debt hanging over the head of every American, put the future Americans on a better footing, unencumbered by debt that they never supported or benefited from them. The bill language is to hodl for 20 years minimum and establish the proof of reserves. By that time, the proper next action will be self-evident. Hodl for life. Welcome to the hodl life, gang. Welcome, fam. But anyways, let's discuss this 250,000 target. Then we'll discuss the coveted 1 million target, and then we'll do some live Q&A, and we'll just flip it over to a pump watch, and we'll jam out to some Chandy jams, watch the charts, and get rich together. How's that sound, brothers? Okay, here we go. Next headline reads, not unreasonable to see the Bitcoin hit 250,000. According to the CoinShares head of the research, he explained why. The top executive from the digital asset manager CoinShares making big price predictions for thy biddy. In a new interview with CNBC, CoinShares head of research James Butterfield, not to be confused with Butterbean, says Bitcoin may ultimately hit 250 G's, baby. More than 166% increase from the current value. And at 250 G's, baby, per Bitcoin. That would show the market cap 25% of the gold market cap, up from the approximate current 10%. Something Butterfield says is not unreasonable for it to happen. However, Butterfield says that he does not expect the Bitcoin to hit 250 this year. Here's what he says. Timing of this is very difficult. Though I don't expect this to occur in 2025, it will head in that direction. Why is he so bearish? I have no idea, but let's continue. Instead, Butterfield, again, not to be confused with the infamous Butterbean, is predicting Bitcoin can correct to 80 G's in 2025 and peak at 150. Butterfield warns that Bitcoin may suffer from a steep correction if pro-President Trump doesn't enact favorable Bitcoin policies, as many expect he will, soon after taking office later this month, again, less than 3 weeks, 18 days out to be exact. Disappointment surrounding Trump's proposed crypto policies and doubts about their enactment could prompt a significant market correction. So that's the million-dollar question. There's analysts that believe Trump will follow through with what he has proposed, especially at the Nashville conference, in which I played the audios from a little earlier. And then there's others that say he's not going to do anything, he said. He just suckered you guys into believing he is to get the vote. What's going to occur? You guys let me know. Will Trump adopt Bitcoin in the United States? Will he stockpile the Bitcoin? Will they establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve? Gensler, we know, is already resigning. He already made the announcement. So we know that much. Is he going to free Ross Ulbricht or Ross Ulbricht? Let me know. But the big question, will they stockpile and buy Bitcoin? Right? That's what I want to know. Will there be a proposed plan to buy 1 million Bitcoin over the course of 4 years? Or will they only stockpile what they already have, and half of it belongs to Bitfinex customers? Of the 200,000, 100,000 already belongs to someone. It's not really the United States'. They just confiscated it from the criminals who confiscated it from the exchange, and they got to pay that back, right? But that's the million-dollar question at hand, family. Now for our feature story of the day. Mark Moss on Bitcoin adoption, freedom, and Bitcoin crossing the coveted $1 million milestone. Let's break this baby down, shall we? So yeah, Mark has been championing benefits of Bitcoin to anyone who will listen since 2016. And here's some quotes from what he had to share. He was also at the Abu Dhabi, event recently at the UAE for the Bitcoin Mena conference. And here's what he shared. I started a business in 1999 at the height of the dot-com boom. That crashed. I started another business in 2001. 2001, an e-commerce business, and it wasn't easy, he laments. It was a terrible timing. Everyone laughed at me and said no one would ever buy anything online. I built that up and had a big exit on it. Now, what brought him to Orange County for this conference? He says, I'm an educator and content creator. I'm also a partner at a Bitcoin venture capital fund. So we invest in the businesses building on and around the Bitcoin ecosystem. I also have a new company that just went public in Canada called Matador. And that's running a MicroStrategy play with Bitcoin as a balance sheet asset and investing through the Bitcoin layer 2 space. So I am actively educating, investing in a space to try to build the world that I want to see. In 2017 and 2018, we were competing for the layer ones, Ethereum, Cardano, Litecoin, Neo. Well, Bitcoin won that. So then the crypto narrative went to DeFi. We all know decentralized finance, and that, fell apart. Then crypto went to NFTs, and, those Bored Ape Yacht Club monkeys are not quite worth what they once were and fell apart. And now it's the meme coins. No one's pretending the world's that's world-changing tech. He also says, I think the stables lead to that as well. Eventually, people get used to having a wallet and transferring digital assets, but then they wonder why their US dollar stable coins buy them fewer goods and services and why Bitcoin buys them more. And I think eventually it all sort of funnels over. That's right. Bitcoin is mathematically guaranteed to increase your purchasing power, and the dollar has the polar opposite effect as pretty little money printer go brr. He also says, when you start to understand money, you understand that if printing money made people wealthy, why don't we just print a lot more? Money has to have a true cost of capital. So gold, for example, I have to buy land and get equipment, spend energy and capital to get the gold. With Bitcoin, new coins are only released if you spend the money to do the work to get them. So the capital has to have a true cost. You can't just print money out of thin air. Otherwise, we'd all be rich. Exactly. Now, the way an S-curve works is the time it takes to get to 10% adoption, and it's the same time it would take to get to 80, 90%. So you can see that second phase between 2020 and 2030 outlined in this chart on your screen, where we get the most growth. We had retail adoption, which brought Bitcoin to 1.2 trillion between 2010 and 2020, when the institutional adoption, the 90%, will come. I think one big misconception is people think that for Bitcoin to get to 1 million or 10 million per coin, then that means that fiat is worthless and now it's $1 million for a gallon of gas. But that's absolutely not true. Airbnb takes a little bit from the hotels. It doesn't mean hotels go away. Just like Uber continues to get more and more from taxis, Bitcoin is not taken away from the dollar. Bitcoin is taken away from the other store value assets: gold, equities, bonds, and real estate. Bitcoin could grow to $21 trillion, referring to the market cap, by 2030, just 5 years out, which means 1 million per Bitcoin. But it doesn't mean all these other assets just go away. It is on par with gold. It is taken a little bit from bonds, a little bit from money, and just a little bit from the equities. And you can see the phases there. And if we fast forward to 2050, Bitcoin becomes the second biggest asset class. But it doesn't mean the other asset classes go away. By 2050, I believe all the store value assets will be priced in Bitcoin instead of US dollars. And then one Bitcoin will be worth one Bitcoin instead of 100,000 or 1 million. And that's the bigger picture. We need to stop fascinating over the fiat equivalent of the Bitcoin and see the bigger picture. One Bitcoin will always be equivalent to one Bitcoin, even 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. You feel me? He says that Gresham's law states that bad money drives out good money. So an example is in the US, up to 1965, quarters and dimes were made of pure silver. After 1965, they started making them out of junk metal. You can't find a pre-65 quarter and dime in circulation anymore. And if you did, you wouldn't spend it because it's now worth $4. So you'd save it. The bad money drove out the good money. The pre-65s are out. So I will always want to use fiat and store my Bitcoin. Precisely. You spend the fiat monopoly money, which could be printed out of thin air because you can't save in it. Those who save in fiat, what do we call them, folk? We call them poor. So we store our value in thy biddy, which is mathematically guaranteed to increase your purchasing power. He also says the new administration, referring to the Trump admin, will definitely be bullish for the industry. It is not really that Bitcoin that was on the ballot. That was really on the ballot. It was freedom. The freedom to choose how you want to store your money and how you want to transact your money. Preach. He says RFK said he would do it, and he is now in the Trump administration. Trump said he would do it. We have a red Republican House, Senate, and presidency. We already have the bill that's been submitted to Senator Lummis. It has to be approved. Maybe it fails and they'll resubmit it, but I would say in the next 24 months, that goes through, referring to Bitcoin National Strategic Reserve for the United States of America. And he also said last year the banks tried to overturn the SEC rule called SAB 21, which prevents banks from being able to custody the biddy. It got to President Biden and he vetoed it. Boo. So we know they want to. They also tried to overturn it and Biden vetoed it. Boo. I am guessing as soon as Trump takes over, they'll resubmit it and it will get approved. It is good times, he beams. I am optimistic. I am very, very optimistic. So there you have it. Crypto bros. Doing to doing, doing, doing. Welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. Bitcoin's still doing its thing as we continue to live the American dream. Welcome, family. There's only 21 million and at least 2 million are lost. Yeah, I think there's 4 or 5 million lost. Right? So meaning there'll only ever be 14, maybe 15, 16 million, if you're lucky, Bitcoin in circulation, making it that much more scarce. The only finite, limited supply form of money, the only finite, limited supply commodity to ever exist in human history, thy biddy. Stack it accordingly, family. And welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream.
But soon they did pause to applaud the 100K. Puerto Rico bound, the dragon wings rested, and they were taking it easy on a private jet. Whoa, undergunning in Puerto Rico. Then they got back to work. You can't stall or tame a Bitcoin dragon. A number 10 mountain bird dragon. Whenever back down, a CNA dragon will always stand its ground, breathing fire to protect the house, the hodl house.